this is the intro, cause I don't know how to make one yet. Seriously, that's going to be my intro. So I've been seeing a lot of people getting upset with Facebook recently, and if the claims these people are making are true, then they are understandably angry. The rumor going around is that Facebook is recording the conversations that you have throughout the day, and then using the information obtained in those recordings in order to bring you ads based on what you've been talking about. To be clear, people are saying that Facebook is recording audio, not necessarily just messages that you're sending over Facebook. Before we jump into this, I'd like it to be known that I work with computers professionally. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, and I am currently taking classes in pursuance of a master's degree in computer science, and I also have been working in the software development industry for the past few years. So now that we've got some foundation, let's be frank. Facebook is not recording your conversations. It simply isn't happening, and I'd like to break this down now to show you why you don't have to worry about that anymore. Let's start with the terms of service set forth by Facebook. I don't know where this nonsense started, but some people seem to think that it is actually written into Facebook's terms of service that they are allowed to record your conversations. So I took some time out of my day, went through and read all of the terms of service and pretty much every single supporting document as well. I'll provide the links to these documents and pages down below so that way you can check them out for yourselves. Or you could just trust me when I tell you that it does not say anywhere in any of these documents that they have the right to record your conversations. It does list what information that they can take, and I'd actually like to go over some of that now. According to Facebook's Terms of Service, Section 9, titled About Advertisements and Other Commercial Content Served or Enhanced by Facebook, you give us permission to use your name, profile picture, content, and information in connection with commercial, sponsored, or related content, such as a brand you like, served or enhanced by us. This means, for example, that you permit a business or other entity to pay us to display your name and/or profile picture with your content or information without any compensation to you. If you have selected a specific audience for your content or information, we will respect your choice when we use it. If you are under the age of 18, you represent that a parent or legal guardian also agrees to this section on your behalf. We do not give your content or information to advertisers without your consent, and you understand that we may not always identify paid services and communications as such. So to double back on some of the key points in there, Facebook is allowed to take some of your information and sell it, and you will not be compensated for that at all. However, nowhere in there does it say anything about recording you. Now there's one other line of interest in the terms of service, and it's way down at the bottom, and it reads, by using or accessing Facebook services, you agree that we can collect and use such content and information in accordance with the data policy as amended from time to time. So in case you're wondering what's in the data policy, well, so did I, and that's why I read that as well. The main section that stuck out in this page was the section titled Device Information, and it says, we collect information from or about the computers, phones, or other devices where you install or access our services depending on the permissions you've granted. We may associate the information we collect from your different devices, which helps us provide consistent services across your devices. Here are some examples of the device information we collect. Attributes such as the operating system, hardware version, device settings, file and software names and types, battery and signal strength, and device identifiers. Device locations, including specific geographic locations such as through GPS, Bluetooth, or Wi-Fi signals, and connection information such as the name of your mobile operator or ISP, browser type, language and time zone, mobile phone number, and IP address. Once again, Facebook takes a lot of your information, but at no point did they say that they have the right to record your conversations. Now there is one other line that might set off some red flags, and it's under the section titled Things You Do and Information You Provide, and it reads, we collect the content and other information you provide when you use our services, including when you sign up for an account, create or share and message or communicate with others. While I admit that this isn't the best wording, I think it's pretty obvious that this doesn't involve the recording of your conversations. Maybe the messages that you send to and from people over Facebook Messenger or the comments that you leave on a post, but not the actual speaking conversations that you're having throughout the day with your phone nearby. Also, if it did do that, I'm sure that under the device information they would have included something about also using your microphone all the time. Now on that note, I can already hear people saying, well then Frank, why does Facebook ask for permission to use my microphone, huh? Well, that's because that's just how operating systems work. In order for an application to access a specific file or a piece of hardware or software, it needs to have proper permissions. So if you just provide Facebook with the proper permissions from the get-go, then later when you try to do something that requires that piece of hardware, Facebook doesn't go back and ask if you're okay with them using the camera or if you're okay with them using the microphone. And now you might be thinking, when would Facebook ever need to use my camera or my microphone? Well, maybe never. You might never actually use the services on Facebook that require the camera or the microphone. Things like live streaming or Facebook stories. If you don't use these parts of Facebook and you want a little bit of extra security, then just go ahead and turn off the permissions on your phone so that way you don't even have to worry about it. However, if you do leave the permissions on, that does not mean Facebook has permission to constantly record you. It just means that when Facebook needs to access the camera or the microphone or whatever, it doesn't need to give you an annoying pop-up every time. Now, I'm sure some of you don't even care what Facebook says, right? Like, they're such a big company, they could be lying to us. I strongly disagree with that sentiment, but if that's honestly what you think, then maybe this next argument will appeal to you more, and it's the problem with processing and data usage. Honestly, this is why I mentioned my background in computers earlier in the video. Voice-to-text recognition is incredibly difficult and highly processor intensive. It takes a lot of processing power just to be able to string simple sentences together. This is why a lot of systems don't even do this locally. What they do is record what you say, send it off to some remote server, have the server process it and figure out what you've said, and then the server sends the text back to your phone. Now, I know that this isn't true for all devices, and some of the more modern ones can perform the task locally, so let's discuss both possibilities. If your phone is nonstop recording, processing, and sending what you're saying off to Facebook, you might as well not even have a phone at all. You might as well carry a brick in your pocket because it'll be just as useful considering your phone will be dead all of the time. The battery would drain at an insane rate. It's just not even plausible. So now let's assume that the recording isn't being processed locally, it's actually being done on a remote server. Well, in that case, I highly recommend you take note of your data usage tracker that your phone offers. It works not just for cellular data, but also for data sent over Wi-Fi, and most modern trackers break up data usage by the apps that are using the data. All of this to say, if your phone were constantly sending data to a Facebook server, you would be seeing a huge spike in data usage for Facebook. We're talking multiple gigs every day, arguably even more than that, considering it would just be raw, unprocessed audio data being sent. So if you don't see a huge plateau of Facebook using data like non-stop all the time, then you don't have anything to worry about. As somebody who actually checks his data usage every once in a while, I can assure you I've never seen anything out of the ordinary from Facebook. I'll admit it's usually at the top of apps that use my data, however, that's just because I go on Facebook a lot. In fact, both of these situations kind of work together because the constant recording, saving, sending, and then obviously deleting of data because no one knows that it's happening and it's not taking up space on your phone would decimate your battery. On the same note, you'd probably see a pretty big spike in data usage if your phone were processing the audio locally and just sending that to Facebook. That's still a lot of information every single day. Furthermore, while it is a lot better than it was just a few years ago, voice recognition technology is still not perfect. If you've ever used speech-to-text technology, you know that it makes mistakes even when you're holding the phone right next to your face and speaking clearly. How do you think it would handle it if the phone were in your pocket or even just on the table but a good couple of feet away from you? It's probably not going to do very well, and chances are in those situations it's not going to pick up anything useful anyway. I'd like to end on this final note. Is Facebook grabbing your metadata and selling it? Oh, hell yeah, they are. They're going through your posts looking for keywords, they're going through the posts that you've liked looking for keywords, they're going through the posts on pages that you've liked looking for keywords, they're going through your pictures, doing facial recognition, object recognition, and GPS location, they're going through your videos, they're probably going through your messages that you're sending. They are gathering a lot of metadata on you. I am not denying that at all. However, they are not recording your conversations. To think that that is happening is simply ludicrous. There's just no other way to put it. If you're talking about something with a friend and then you see an advertisement for that thing on Facebook, it's either 100% coincidence, you actually did like something or Google something related to this and you either forgot or you just don't want to admit it, or it's probably the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Now, I don't want to go too deep into this, but the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon is when you start to notice something, but only because you've been talking about it recently. For example, you could be receiving advertisements about new furniture in your Facebook feed for weeks and just not even notice because you don't even care. Then you have a conversation about furniture, and then a couple minutes later you get on your phone and boom, advertisement in your feed for furniture. Fact is, it's been there previously, you're just now noticing it though because it's fresh in your mind. I think I've beaten this thing to death. I feel like I've covered all of the necessary bases, but at this point, I would just love to know, what do you think? Do you still think Facebook is recording you? If so, why? I would love to see some actual solid evidence of this happening, so please change my mind. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, share to spread a little bit of the love, drop a comment to let me know what you'd like to see me be frank about in the future, and with all of that being said, I've been Frank, you've been lovely, and I can't wait to talk to you again.